can you see this person's perspective, but can you see beyond this barrier that is in front of you right now? And we do get to that place of gratitude and actually appreciation. Now, it takes us refusing to stay in a victim mindset in order to do that.
That's our Teri. Do you know, I just got back from Ireland and it was almost like you were there. You had an entire group of people quoting Teri. It was the craziest Teriisms we were quoting. And we gave you credit every time. It's like, it's almost like she's here, but you weren't there. And we're going to make sure that we change that next time, because
that'd be lovely.
It was really this celebration of, a lot of us have found freedom in Teri Pugh's words, and an amazing life coach. And a lot of us say, she saved my life. Okay, I say that, but there are lots of things that we talk about each week. And this one is a little bit different because we're bringing a guest on that has been on with us before, but he's got a book out and it's called The Amazing Adventures of a Marginally Successful Musician. He speaks and he's got an incredible program about this. And a lot of people are musicians in this town, but maybe you're not in other towns. But how do you take these nuggets in this book and apply it to your everyday life? Because they really are some really good things to get you unstuck. And with that, we welcome our Bill. Hey, Bill, Cinque.
Well, hello, Devon. Hello, Teri. I have to echo Devon's sentiments. Teri has words that change a lot of people's minds and changes their hearts and very often changes their lives. And I have seen your show several times. Even just the intro is very inspiring. So Teri, it's so great to see you again. I don't talk to you as often as I talk to Devon, but thank you for giving me some time here.
Our pleasure. And thank you both for your sweet and very kind words. I appreciate that.
All very true.
Bill, let's face it, there are a lot of people in life who are really just plain old stuck, and they blame a lot of things. And it could be trauma. It could be, I was raised on the wrong side of the tracks. I've never had the opportunities. I mean, Teri, you hear more excuses than any of us.
Well, most of the time, though, people don't really think that they're excuses. It's just their truth. You know, it's just their story, their truth, and it's what they know to be true. So they don't really see it as an excuse. It's just their life. Changeable, but still their life.
True. And Bill, you know, as a professional musician, you started out with a silver spoon, right? You had all the opportunities just handed to you, right?
Oh my goodness, yes. If anybody wants to Google South Yonkers, New York, you'll see the luxurious environs that I grew up in. You know, the interesting thing is when you talk about kind of an excuse or a truth, there is a philosophy these are not my words. I'm just kind of interpreting them. It's people don't have a tendency; they only have a history. And what that means is the fact that you did this 10 times before doesn't mean that you can't change it. That's your history. For people to sit there and smoke a cigarette saying, well, I just smoked because I've always smoked and my dad smoked. Well, yeah, you could learn something from that. You can stop. And as Teri said, it's not written in stone. You know, you can change it. And I always thought that was a great kind of a bumper sticker for me, is to say, you have a history, but not a tendency. I can't change history, but I can change my tendencies. And I've applied that to music, but I've also held it up kind of as a mirror. And I have to look at myself and say, okay, am I following through on this? Is it enough to be really good at your job if you're not good with your life? You know, and that's kind of was one of the purposes of my book, because I thought there was more to be had from it than just learning how to play a guitar or a saxophone.
Mm-hmm. If people ask you, like, the first thing to get people started on helping or changing a tendency, What's one of the first things that you get? Here's the big step.
Well, again, I'm a big fan of bumper sticker phrases so that it just, you can't forget it. And I do remember, I'm sure I've said this on the other shows, but I did a speaking engagement with Devon O'Day, and it was younger people, and they asked me about getting started. And I said, in the music business, show up early and wear a clean shirt. And everybody laughed. And I said, I'm not kidding. This is your first impression. I would say the same thing for a job interview. I would say the same thing if you're going to rent an apartment. I would say the same thing if you're going on a first date. Walk in like you're presenting yourself. Walk in as if you want to be seen. If you're going to approach life as a wallflower, there are consequences. That doesn't mean you have to take an introvert and make them an extrovert. That's not really what I'm saying. But the idea of the phrase I like to use is declare yourself. And when I say declare yourself, it's okay to say, hey, you know what? I'm new at this. I have something to learn. That's okay. Saying, I'm never going to get this. I can't learn how to do this. That's not okay.
I think that's huge. We got some people we're welcoming to the show. Candy is with us. Corinne is with us. There's our EB. Elizabeth is here. Johnny Vanoker is here. And let's see.
I am
Michelle.
Always astonished how great your audience is. We're like 6 minutes into the cast, and they're
no. This is every week. They're incredible. Michelle is here. Oh, Paul in Virginia. Hi, Paul. And Candy, really like that. Oh, I love that. Can't change history, but I can change my tendencies. Yes. Elizabeth, it's a mindset. And Suzanne. Hi, Suzanne.
Hi, Suzanne.
Glad to have you all here. Follow, subscribe, and share. This is a conversation that we're having about, and musician rules of life. You think, well, I'm not into music, so this won't apply to me. But honestly, it's just like Bill said. I mean, these are just some, almost like some rules of life that work no matter who you are, no matter what you do. What's the thing that persistence is something that you don't know you've got it until you know you've got it. I mean, there are times when people give up really easily sometimes on things that really, really matter. And sometimes letting go is good because it's a toxic thing and you need to let go of it. But if it's something that's really in you and you really want to do it, there is a form of it I always think that you can do. Okay, I probably won't be a ballerina with the New York Ballet, but there is a form of that. I can go take ballet lessons as a senior or as an adult.
Oh, and most assuredly, yeah.
Now, Bill, how do you define persistence?
I think I have a lot of quotes today in my head for whatever reason. One of the greatest college basketball coaches of all time is a guy by the name of John Wooden.
And I love him.
He was at UCLA and he won more games than anybody and every record you ever want to see. And he had a great phrase also. And he said, don't confuse activity for accomplishment. And he was saying that to his basketball players, saying, look, if you guys are just running around in circles, that's activity, but you're not getting anything done. Mm-hmm. You have to run a play. You have to have the ball. You have to have a rebound. You have to score a basket. I've always said that same thing applies to everything in life. And of course, in my life, so much of my life is music. The difference between accomplishment and activity is huge. When you say persistence, when someone says, I'm working at this all the time, I'm working at my music all the time, and I'll say, what are you doing? And there's usually a long pause. And it's really the pause. And maybe, I've heard Teri say things similar to this when I've heard her talk. The idea of sometimes the silence speaks louder than the words. If you ask me what I'm doing, well, at 6:30 this morning, I was proofing. I hope I'm not talking too technically, but proofing mixes. I'm producing a young artist.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to be on the phone and emails with them in New York. So I was listening on my headphones, proofing these mixes, these songs that are going to come out on her record. I was doing that at 6:30 this morning. At 7:30 this morning, I had just done an interview on Rock Seller magazine, which is an online magazine out here that is helping me promote my audiobook, which you folks are so kind to do. That's what I was doing before my 10 o'clock Los Angeles time interview with you guys. Here I am. And after this, I'm teaching kids at a local church and school, teaching them music. So when someone asks me, well, what are you doing to promote yourself? What are you doing? With what intention? What are you doing to further your career? What I just said to you is in one day. Mm-hmm. When I ask someone else about what they're doing and they say, well, I'm doing stuff. That tells me the difference between activity and accomplishment. Maybe they're emailing their friends. Maybe they're taking a guitar lesson, but they're not putting their heart and soul into it. And that same attitude could be applied to an accountant, a plumber. Frankly, I've never met a mother of two children who did not wake up every day with intention. They have to, right? So I would say, look at it that way. Look at your job as your children, and you've got to care for that in every which way. And that would be, to me, the difference when you say persistence. Yeah. Are you getting anything done? Are you going about it the right way?
Elizabeth adds to that. Yes, I can run in circles without accomplishing a dang thing. When I am running in circles, it is when I need to pause and look at why.
Yeah.
Well said. Yeah.
I love that. Teri, you kind of stepped on my toes when we first started working together, and I was saying why I didn't do certain things, and you said, well, you do what you want to do.
We prioritize, right? We can create time for lots of things. And there are lots of people out there that have big, long to-do lists that continue to stay in the distance. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. But they're never actually, because all their actions in the moment are actually counterintuitive to what they say they're going to be doing. So we have to be willing to stop and check ourselves.
Filling in the squares on a calendar. I used to be obsessed with it. I'd buy my calendar and I had to have something in every square. I couldn't stand an empty square. But I wasn't filling it with the stuff that needed to be done, unfortunately.
I think we all know that feeling. There's an old joke, because I'm the person who makes lists. I have little pieces of paper like this. I make them out the night before, and I wake up every day and check them off. And the old joke is, if the first item on your list is make a list, then you go, great, I can check that one off. I've got something done. And the fact is, as you find yourself going through the day, you need to be checking stuff off. You need to be moving forward. You need to be accountable for to yourself.
And sometimes it's really the things that get us ahead is not some big elaborate thing, like something that requires a great big budget or something that requires us to lose 20 pounds. It literally is getting up and doing something very practical that you can do right then in that moment, right?
I'll let Teri answer that one.
I would agree. Yes. I would think that, yes, doing something that's practical, depending on where you are, but also being mindful not to get into doing all the easy practical things, and sometimes challenging yourself to step into those things that feel a bit bigger, because in those bigger experiences are the opportunities that we keep saying we want. But if we stay in the little things and the minutia of the little things, then 6 months from now, we still have our to-do list with the big thing that we want to work towards. But as Bill was saying, it's like, well, what have you done? What are you doing to be in that space? And next week I've got a meeting with somebody, and, I'm going to start doing this. but what are you doing today? You don't have to fill your day up 24 hours, but do something. Plant some sort of seed and water that seed and work the soil around it so that there is at least a possibility and then a probability of some sort of success or harvest in the future.
Right.
Yeah. Well, again, this is the brilliance of this show, because you have this kind of input. I mean, here is Teri just saying that as plainly as you could say it. And the simplicity of it, you when you hear it at first blush, you think, well, how could this be so complicated? But that's the human mind, right? That's the problem. It should be simple. And I think what it comes down to is, if we spend all our time in the shallow end, we're never going to get to the deep end of the pool. We're never going to learn how to swim. The idea of throwing somebody in the deep end, so to speak, that's not always a good idea. But we're going to have to learn how to swim. And at some point, this kind of goes back full circle to the very opening minute of our conversation. It takes you back to, well, what are you going to do? And, well, you're only doing what you want to do. You're capable of more. Everybody else sees it. Maybe you don't. But time marches on and the world keeps turning, and the rest of the people are going to learn how to swim. You better get in there and figure out how to get to the other end of the pool, because life is short and it's full of woulda, coulda, shoulda. And maybe it is time to kind of take a little, take stock of yourself and put it into play.
And I would say also to that, make sure it's your priority, because a lot of times I come across paths with people who have a wish, have a dream, they have a goal. And when they really start teasing it out, they recognize it's not theirs. It's what someone wants them to be or someone wants them to do. So take time to create that space to find out if that's truly what you want to do. Because if it is truly what you want to do, you will find a way. Well, actually, you don't even have to find a way. If it's something you truly want to do, you will allow it to unfold, and you will take every opportunity to encourage and enrich and promote it, whatever it is,
I think you need to give yourself an opportunity to write a new chapter. We think of ourselves as a one-trick pony. And I mean, I'm going to be really open. Losing a job in radio after doing it for 40 years was really hard. And I was really mad and resentful and all those things that you get. And then you really go, wait a minute, I have something else I want to do. I have lots of things I want to do. Now, for the first time, I have a blank slate of I can choose something new to do. And joining a company that gave me something and a time to do that, it's like, wow, that's so cool that I realized that it is okay to say, okay, I have been XYZ up to this point, and guess what? There are other letters that I can be. And those are some things. Let's take a look at Elizabeth. I feel so much better about my to-do list since I decided to choose to do what is my priority at a given time. Not everything on my list is a priority every day. I love that. Suzanne says, learn how to make use of yourself. A lot of people are waiting in. I'm trying to get to everybody. Let's see. Now here's a good thing. Candy says, I get so depressed and confused and can't focus on anything, but my workouts are the one thing that I can always show up for and do well. I wish I could figure out how to do the rest of it. Okay. We do have those things that we like to do, and we show up for those things, and then we feel very active. But there's the things that we need to do. Okay, how do we show up for those? Go.
Take it away, Bill.
Well, pardon me for quoting myself, because I can't get my own words out of my head sometimes fast enough. But as I wrote in the book, in my book, I said, it's interesting if a scratchy throat would keep you out of your day job in the warehouse. But for a musician, a compound skull fracture would not stop you from doing the local gig, because you can't wait to get there. Right. And so my question is, if I take that and kind of turn it, on its head, what would it take to make you feel that way about the other aspects of your life? What I tell people all the time is, if in fact you're going to be a musician, that means you're going to be self-employed. If you're going to be self-employed, that means you essentially own your own business. And if you have your own business, you have to treat it like a business. So I got news for you. You handle it whatever way you want. But on the first of the month, the landlord is still going to knock on your door and ask for the rent. You can call yourself a musician, and you can call yourself a dancer or a painter or whatever you want to do. You have to take care of your business. You have to be respectful to other people. You have to watch out for your family. You have to take care of your health. And at what point can you strike a balance there? And that is not an easy thing to do, but it is necessary. It's absolutely paramount.
I'm laughing because Corinne, she kind of sums it up. I need to vacuum, but I sure as hell ain't going to get stoked about it. I love Corinne. She's so funny. Well, there are those things in life. Yes. I mean, death and taxes. There's some things that that the certain kind of things, but okay. Queen of reframe, Teri, how can we reframe that? How can we reframe? Okay. I need to vacuum, but I ain't going to get stoked about it.
Well, I mean, do you have to get stoked about it? You have a choice, either vacuum or don't. But if you're not going to vacuum, then we can't gripe and complain about all the stuff. Well, we can, but I mean, what is that doing? Because that goes, for me, that goes back into the brain thing. Like, what are we feeding our brain? And realistically, I don't know how big your house is, Corinne, but and it really doesn't matter. Maybe it's 900 square foot, or maybe it's 5,000, who knows? But, maybe bite it off a little bit at a time, or make it. I mean, I tell, when I'm working with younger folks, I tell people, make a game of it. Make a game of it. Put on a great song that you like that takes 4 minutes and dance your ass off while you're vacuuming, and you've got a partner and you're getting a job done, and just kind of change the way you're looking at it.
She says, no one would listen if I did gripe. Small house, hairy dog. And the dog says, it's okay. It's my hair. It's whatever,
Right.
That there are a lot of things in our lives that we have to, we can make time or we cannot. It really is all up to us, and it determines your quality of life. And at any moment, you can change your quality of your life. You can say, okay, like you said, here's my past, but I can change my tendency. I can change how I do my life. Every single day, we can make a change toward what it is we want. And it's okay to commence doing something and then go, wow, this is not what I thought it would be, and change your mind. Have you ever had those people, Bill, that they want to be a musician and then they get started and they get their first gig and go, I don't like to travel?
I see it every day. I will refrain from using names and places and dates, but I've been with people this week that really want it, that kind of thing, as much as I hate to use air quotes. They're willing to do anything to be a musician. And then I'll say, okay, well, rehearsal will be at 4:00 in the afternoon. And they'll say, but that's during traffic. And I have to stop right there. And I'm thinking, if you're not going to go to your first rehearsal because of traffic, how do you think the rest of your path is going to go? And it's so simple. Again, it's one of those things. How is this so complex when it seems so simple? And the fact is, you have people that they're looking at the golden key, and they don't realize what it takes to get there. Part of that is, I think, a lot of the television shows that young people watch, and I don't want to mention names again, but there is, particularly in the music business, there is a feeling and a process of thinking that All I have to do is come out on stage and impress 4 people, these judges at a table, and then I'll tour the world as a famous musician. I don't have to learn how to play an instrument necessarily. I don't even have to write my own songs because I'm singing a popular song that everybody knows, right? I'm going to come out there and sing a Frank Sinatra song, and I'll wear the hat and the jacket and the tie like Frank did, and I'll be famous and I'll be the next Frank Sinatra. And that's just not the way it goes. And those are the people that sometimes in that first moment, they'll say, wait a minute, I didn't know it was going to be this much work. And my response is, this much work? It's his first rehearsal. I don't understand the mindset. And just about the time I think, there's no hope, I'll work with a couple of young people that are just so on top of it, and they've honed their craft and they're ready to roll. And if the rehearsal's at 10 o'clock, I get there at 9:30, and this guy's sitting in the parking lot waiting for me because he's already got his coffee and he's already sitting there listening to his music and reading his lyrics. I go, now that's the guy I want to work with.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want this to sound negative at all, because we're asking particular questions about particular mindsets, but there are other mindsets. There are the people out there that I just go, well, I feel like I'm looking at me when I was 23, because this kid's his motor's running constantly, and I love it. And I love seeing that.
That's the thing, always looking at, if there's a dream, it's worthy of rehearsal, it's worthy of preparation, it's worthy of practice, it's worthy of sacrifice. If it's your dream, and even if it's your dream for 1 minute, and you get it for 1 minute and you go, wow, that was cool, I don't ever want to repeat this. I mean, jumping out of an airplane, not one of my dreams, but some people do it and they go, okay, I did it. I'm not going to do that again, but I did it. I always, let everybody know that your experiences can line up, and some are supposed to be books. Some are supposed to be chapters, and some are only meant to be a sentence. And it's okay to use that. And we use the term reframe a lot, but we do reframe and go, life experiences can be like that too.
Yeah.
Not everything that you have dreamed of turns out to be exactly. I always say the dog that caught the pickup truck. Now what do I do with a pickup truck? Elizabeth says, we don't achieve our dreams by doing nothing. Dreams don't land in our laps without some effort on our part.
Right. Well, and it does take, we shun away from the word work, but it takes dedication, and it does take work, no matter if it's, whether it's a life dream, whether it's a life goal, whether it's a career you're getting into, or relationship you're into, folks who are trying to have kids, whatever it is, we have to be willing to be focused and, do the work, and our society work. I don't want to do that. It's
supposed to be easy. It's supposed to be easy.
I want the big picture. Like, I want the picture, but I don't want to do the work. And it's like, it doesn't work that way. Like, it just doesn't.
Corinne says, when I first started violin lessons, I thought I had Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star nailed. I proudly played it for the instructor, who promptly told me, wrong key, busted my bubble. But you did it.
Right.
And that's an accomplishment in my mind.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Corinne, you have this one wonderful memory that gives you this story that you can share. And I think that that's a cool thing. I play it my way still. See, and that works just fine. That
Absolutely.
works for us. We're at the end of the show. Bill, the book is available. Oh, look there. And Huta, where are you today? Are you in Germany? I think Huta Hinschel is, and she should not stop daring to have dreams. I think she's in Germany. I might be right, might be wrong. I don't know, but put in the notes where you are, Huta. And y'all, the book is available. Let me get over here so I can show you the book. Yes, she's in Germany. Okay. The book is available, The Amazing Adventures of a Marginally Successful Musician. I just downloaded mine. The new credits just came out on Audible today. So you can download from there, or you can go to billcinque.com. And Teri, I know that there are a couple of new clients that you've gotten in the last couple of weeks because we talk about you all the time. I don't use your name in vain, but I certainly do share all the wonderful wisdom that you share with me. And thank you for being here for a lot of us.
Absolutely. My pleasure. And Bill, thank you for being here with us today.
Oh my goodness, this was my pleasure. I will recommend Teri to everyone. I rather than me trying to figure out who could use Teri's advice, I'm wondering who can't.
Well, there are some. There are some that will tell you. So
they're quite. We all line up, and somebody said, "Oh, everybody loves you, Devon." I'm going, "Oh no, I can give you a list." Talk about a to-do list, yeah.
Right, we have a list.
And Bill, also, you take clients in hypnotherapy as well. So billcinque.com is where you can find the book. You can find ways if you want to talk to Bill after this and you go, hey, he had some really cool things to say. I'd love to talk with him. There's some packages and information there as well. Correct?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, we're going to let Teri bring it home for us.
All right. Well, as always, we appreciate each and every one of you joining and choosing to spend your time and your noon hour wherever you are. Maybe it's 10 o'clock in the morning on the West Coast for you. So choosing to spend your time with us and sharing with us because you enrich our lives, and we're forever grateful for that. So until we see you next week, please take opportunities to create wonderful days and memories and increase your peace. See ya.
Bye, everybody.